Welcome to Dave Doing Stuff, First Time Blacksmithing, Episode 2. If you're a person who's always wondered what it might be like to be a blacksmith, or you were curious about what it might be like to be a blacksmith, this is the video series for you because I've always wondered that, and this is where I'm trying it for the very first time, right out of the gate with no instruction. This is episode 2. Today I'm going to spend the whole day heating steel and working with it. Some of it's a little bit underheated, some of it's just right, and some of it gets overheated by way too much. I'm going to be bending and twisting and hammering. You're going to enjoy it, and you might learn a little bit. I know I learned a lot. Be sure you watch episode 1. That's where I explain my setup. And let's get started. Along the way, give us a like, share, and a subscribe. Here we go. It's definitely getting warmer. You have to be patient, which isn't something I'm particularly good at or known for. I can see the bottom bar here starting to glow a little bit inside. Yeah, look at that, it's getting warmer. It's not there. Well, look at that, it might just be getting there. Look at that. Holy cow. Stick it back in. Well, that's looking pretty good. Stick it back in there. Okay, we're gonna try it. I don't have I don't know what they call it, twisting wrench. I think it's 2 1/2-inch pieces, guys. I think it's hot enough. I hope it's hot enough. I have no idea how fast it's gonna cool off on me. Let's have a look here. Okay. I don't think that's hot enough. I don't think that's going to be hot enough. Oh, it's twisting. I don't think it's hot enough though. Wow. Oh. Ho 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 ho. This is the third heat for this twist. I want a tight twist, and I just want to make sure I get it on there right. There we go. Run a little bit more. That's a tighter twist. Oh, I like that. Now, the first couple twists I did, I was looking at the steel, trying to judge by the color, you know, and the first one I did wasn't near hot enough. It was really stiff to try and twist. So the second one, I heated it a little bit longer, but then it too cooled down and was hard to twist. Now, part of that's because I wasn't working in a very comfortable place. I was on my knees, the vise wasn't handy, it was clumsy. First time I was doing these skills, and it was a very clumsy thing. But then this one, I left it a lot longer, and this is what happened. Did it melt? I think it melted. Look at that! I didn't know that was possible. Look at that, it melted, man. Damn it. Okay, let's put that here for now. If I can salvage anything out of this or not. Damn it. That's really frustrating. Look at that. I might be able to get something out of that anyway. I'll have to see. I don't know. Holy cow. I don't believe it. Look at that, it just disappeared. Wow. Well, I'm going to pretend it was meant to be that way. Let's see how this is. Might be too cold now, we'll see. It's stiff, but we'll pretend it was meant like that. There we go. Oh, I broke it. Oh, I broke it. Here we go. This is going to be a big twist. A big twist. I'm not sure how it's going to work out. But we're going to see. Hopefully it's hot enough. Oh yeah, it's hot. Now, you do this fast this time. Come on, mother. Come on, mother. And here we go. Oh, that's much easier. Like that, I think. Well, it's cool. It's not exactly what I was looking for, but it's cool. And for this one, I have to put a groove down the edge of it first. I'm going to try that now. Not sure how this is going to work. Oh, look at that. Okay, so what I want to do, I want to come in about this. Parallel to the side. Hopefully you can see that. Oh, that's nice of me. Oh, give me this. Come on, you. Oh, that's so much different when it's hot. Okay. This is coming better. I'm getting better. I'm getting a little bit better at managing the heat. So you'll see there's a groove on this side, nothing on that side. And the groove on this side, I just have to clean up a little bit. And then that will be the first part of this job done. I'll clean this up just a little bit here. Good boy, it sure cools off fast. Now, so there's a groove on this side, groove on this side. So now what I want to try to do
is round off this corner a little bit and round off this corner a little bit. The corners that don't have the grooves. These grooves are supposed to be closer to one side or the other. So I put them both. I tried to get them as close to the edge without going too far. So I'm going to try and round off this one. So I'm going to put a mark on that. One thing I've learned is that for orientation's sake, it's good to mark the piece you're putting back in the fire, so you know when you bring it back out, you know what side you want to work on, because when it's all hot, it's really hard to see. So now I'm going to start bringing this out and try to round that corner off without damaging the other side. That's for that one. Now this one, I've got a groove down opposite sides. I tried to keep this one as close to the middle as I can. I didn't do a very good job. You can see that it's off, like it's a little bit cockeyed there, but that's the way it is. Now this one's ready to twist. Now the next step for this piece, and I want to do it before I take the back handle off because I want a little more room, is I have to cut grooves in opposite corners this way, just along this edge on two opposite sides. And those cuts should be as close together as this part. From the distance from the corner to the gouge is the distance between cuts to make them squares, little cubes. It's not going to be messy, but it's going to be difficult. So I want to try and do this as carefully as I can. It was a lot of work to get it this far. I don't want to screw it up now. So you want to try and cut these little cubes without going through and touching the other side, and this one I just did on that one. You try not to do that because that part should stay solid. Oh, here we are. So I have the saw cuts on opposite corners. Now it's going to be time to twist it. You could use a hacksaw for this, which I did, or you could use an angle grinder, I suppose, but it really wasn't that hard. I took a couple of breaks. I mean, that hard. Everything seems to be hard with this kind of a hobby, but I mean, I'm pooped. But anyway, I'm happy about this. Next step. It's going pretty good. Had to do some fine-tuning as I go, which is kind of cool, kind of fun. And I read somewhere, or I saw online, that someone said you could use charcoal. So I picked up just a bag of charcoal at Canadian Tire. I didn't know how much wood or how far the wood was going to go. And the truth of the matter is, the charcoal seems to be doing just fine too. I can see it's getting the steel up to a good temperature. So that's good to know. That's good to know. Doesn't smell as nice as the wood, but that's the way it goes. So here I am. I have 5 projects underway. This is the first simple twist. And I drew out that handle. I forgot to turn the camera on. I'll do that for the next one. But you know, this twist, this is the second twist. This one wasn't as hot as it could have been. This one was hotter. This is going to be the Rubik's Cube twist. And then these two, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them, but I'm going to get them twisted today. In fact, that's what I'm getting geared up to do right now, is to get some heat going and get everything nice and hot and get the twisting done. So let's turn the blower on. This is so cool.
There's no question that drawing out material is the most physical part of what I did all day. It was a lot of work. I started off trying to just put a dent in the steel between the handle and the blade to create a transition between the two, and then for some reason I carried down the length of the blade on the sharper corner, making dents all the way along to the end. I don't know why I did that. I remembered after a while that everything I saw said you should be moving material on the rounder part of the anvil, the horn I think they call it. So subsequently I moved up to that part of the anvil to start to do it. I'm going to speed the camera up here. I had 3 pieces of metal in the forge at a time. And what I would do is take one out, work it as fast as I could, and when it started to cool off or when it got too cold, I would put it back in the forge and take the next one out, work it as fast as I could, and just keep that rotation going. So I always had fresh, hot material to work with. But I'll tell you what, that was a lot of work. The anvil was bouncing all over the place. At times I felt like I was chasing it all over the yard. And I was kneeling down, standing up. Those heavy gloves I've got on, I don't think you need them. And it made it really hard to hang on to the hammer. So after a while, my hands started getting really sore. I was just trying everything I could to try and find the right way to do it. It was a real challenge. Okay, I'm going to change my style here, my sequence. I'm only going to work one piece at a time. Because the truth is, I need a break between heats. Trying to draw this out. That's the way they say you're supposed to do it. Oh, now that's hard on the arms, hard on the hands. This is the 5th piece I've drawn out. I think that's the right word. And I'm starting to get the hang of it a little bit. It's important, I've realized, I've learned to do it while it's hot. Keep it hot and work at it then. And then I'm finding that I'm taking better strikes with the hammer. And I'm doing a better job of it. I'm not trying to overwork it as it cools. I'm only working one at a time so my arm's fresh when I pick it up, because this is a lot of work. That's cooling off now, so now I'm straightening it. Boo! Need a smaller hammer. Well, that was a day and a half. That was a long day at the forge. I was out there working from about 8 o'clock this morning until dusk, which was about 4:30, quarter to 5. I was working the whole day. I was busy all day doing something. I had an issue with a couple of things that set me back a little bit, blew a fuse a couple times, but I didn't sit down and take half an hour off or anything. I was working all the way through. And I'm beat tonight. I gotta tell you, I'm beat tonight. And I came in, I got a glass of wine and promptly spilt it all over my sketch. I hope you can see this okay. But this was the target for today, and this is how I made out. The first piece was going to be just a simple twist. This was my first twist. I didn't have it heated as much as I should have. It was hard to do. It was a hard twist. The way I did these was I did the twist first, and then I drew out the blade, and I was hoping to do something on the end, the nub. I didn't get far enough to do anything on the nubs, and I didn't leave enough material. If you want to do something a little more ornamental at the back end, we have to have more than 3/4 of an inch at the end to begin with, to work with. It's just not enough material there. But I was quite happy with the way that one went for my first twist. It worked out. It went pretty good. It went really well. This one was going to be a different twist, and this is it here. And to do this twist, I ran a groove on 2 sides of the opposite each other, a groove, and then made the twist. And I tried to round the corners off here so that it was like there was less of a transition. It didn't work out perfectly, but it worked out pretty cool. And then when I drew this knife out, I drew it out with a different technique on the anvil. I was doing half on, half off blows to try and draw the material out. This one went much faster, and it came out very flat, and I'm not unhappy with it. I don't know which I'd which I would prefer next time, but I'm happy with the way that turned out.
This was going to be the Rubik's Cube. And for this one, I made it a little bit longer than the 2 inches. And look at that. Now, it's not perfectly straight. I can straighten that out. One thing that I found to be a real challenge was when the steel was hot, trying to be able to see where you were supposed to start and end. And it's really hard to see. So this one grew because I started on one side, just went further on, so I had to make them all the same, and it just ended up being bigger. But that's pretty cool. I like that. And again, I don't have enough of an end to do much with it. I was hoping to do a little screwy thing on the end, but there's not enough material there because I carried my groove too far down on one, and I had to make them all match for the twisting part. But I'm happy with that. Now, this was going to be the just another whatever twist seemed to work best. There was no specific twist on it, and the leafy wheel thing at the end. But by the time I roughed out the materials and I got the twist done, I realized I didn't have enough material to do the thing on the end. So on this one, I tried to do well. First, let's talk about the twist. On this twist, by the time I got it out of the heat and into the vise, it had cooled too much to twist very well. So I only got about a half a turn on it. And I put it back in the heat again to get it hot so I could twist it again. And when I pulled it out the second time, it wasn't heated evenly. The first couple of inches were one shade of orange, and then it was lighter going this way. This part wasn't as cold or wasn't as hot. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to just try that and see what happens. And look at this. You got a really tight curl at the butt of the opener, and then the curl opens up as we move further along. I mean, I'm not unhappy with that. I think it's just fine. It's kind of cool. And because I didn't have enough material to put the leafy thing on, I thought I would try and do I forget what they call it now. Trying to make a little bulbous end on the butt by getting it hot and hammering on the end of it to get it to become a little more bulbous. But I can't isolate my heat that well. When I heat this end, I was heating all the way up into the curl, all the way up to about here. I think you'd have to have a torch or something to be able to just isolate the heat to the end of the steel, or have some way to quench it so that you could cool off an awful lot of this and keep this part warm. Again, I didn't have the ability to do that either. So I tried to put it in a vise and tried to hammer the end to get it, and it grew a little bit, but it wasn't the effect I was looking for, but it's the best I could do. Again, I'm not unhappy with it. I got a lot of rough spots here that I have to work out, but for a first effort, I'm not unhappy with that at all. And then the last one, I didn't get to this one. I didn't do that, but what I did do was I did another curl. Check this out. Another curl. I like that one. This is one where I put, like this one, I had a groove on opposite sides. This one I put a groove on all 4 sides and then just did the twist. It was a more complicated pattern I thought I would try to get to, but I just ran out of time. So I'm not unhappy with that. Then I drew out this face, which is, again, I'm not unhappy with the way that turned out. This one, though, is thicker than these others, so I feel like I should be working on them a little bit more. And then on this end, I left more space. So look at this. This started off about here. I had about 1 inch of material, and look what I did. I drew it all the way out to there. It was fun to do. I want to get it hot again. I ran out of time, and then curl it back up somehow and make something kind of goofy out of it. This will probably be a strange one, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And it was fun to do. Working now, as I say, I learned I had lots of heat to be able to do these twists. You have to get it all hot to be able to do that. You're moving a lot of material. Doing this, it takes very little heat. I could put it in the fire, and in 10 to 20 seconds, it was hot enough. It was glowing hot enough to be able to work with it, but it cooled off in 5 to 10 seconds. So you only hit it 5 or 6 times, and it was too cool. You had to put it back in the fire. That was one of the things that I found was more involved than I had anticipated trying to do fire management. But this is a good one. This is a cool one. I'm looking forward to doing something with this. I don't know what. We'll see. But for a first effort, in 8.5 hours, not having ever done it before, I'm not unhappy with these at all. Now, what I'm going to do is I'll be taking, and I'm going to shape these knives. I'm going to shape these knives the way they're like straight and to a point, and take my angle grinder and just cut off the material that I don't want to have on there. That's the plan. I think that from what I've seen online, that's what people do. You once you get it flattened out, you cut out the shape you want, and then continue working from there. Then harden it. Hopefully I'll be able to do that tomorrow, and then grind it, which I'll have to do when I get back home again. But for the first day in my whole life being a blacksmith, I am not unhappy with what I've got here. So what did I learn? I learned that my $30 forge, cement blocks and patio slabs, and connected with a bellows that's a rainwater leader attached to a leaf blower, works absolutely fine. I was just blown away. It's amazing. I got lots of heat. In fact, I got so much heat that a couple of my pieces actually melted, which means I reached forge welding temperatures. It was just it was amazing. I was burning maple firewood chips, which you saw, and I picked up a bag of just regular barbecue charcoal because I saw somewhere online where people said they could use that, and you can. It's amazing. I got lots of heat. I didn't have to, it wasn't a whole lot of money, and it wasn't comfortable. I guess if I had a place to do it right now, I would probably build a table to put that forge on, just so I wasn't on the ground all the time. Like, my back's killing me tonight because I was squatting all day. You know, my legs and my back are just killing me. But if you had it on a table, there's no reason why you couldn't use that system all the time. You don't need a $600 or $1,200 forge if you didn't want one. If you had access to the hardwood, and just buy a bag of charcoal, it was great. The other thing I learned was that you have to have air. Just having the fire going won't generate enough heat to be able to get the steel hot enough to be able to bend or twist. Now, having said that, you don't need a very big fire. I started off quite slow because I thought I needed a bigger fire than I needed. I didn't realize I needed as much air as I did. But there were a couple of times when I just had one or two little chunks of hardwood in there and the fan going, and I could get all these knives up to temperature. It was amazing how much heat you can generate when you add oxygen to it. And working on the ground, the other thing I learned was working on the ground isn't any fun. It's just not fun at all. And but it's a good test for today. The most important thing I learned, though, was to watch the heat and work with the heat. This one, it was red, but it wasn't as red as it could have been. I kind of fumbled around getting it into the vise and getting the wrenches on it because it was my first twist. By the time I got around to twisting it, it was hard. I did twist it all the way around, but it was a lot of work. I was grunting trying to get it done. This one was a piece of cake. I got it really hot. I had my wrenches ready to go. I got it really, really hot, put it in the vise, and it twisted around. I was amazed at how easy it was to do that. And then trying to get these things drawn out, working with the heat. I fought the first two that I did. There's no question. I worked really hard at it, and I was working the steel when it was really too cool to be worked easily. And so I had to learn to bring it out, put it on the anvil, start to work, and of course the anvil sucks some heat out of it. And depending how much you fumble around with your tongs trying to get the grip, or the hammer trying to get it in the right place, sometimes I just had to put it right back into the fire again because I'd wasted so much time fooling around that the heat had left the steel. But if you watch your heat, work with the heat, and it's amazing. At least I'm amazed. I got a few things to clean up here. It's really hard to see, though. That's the one thing that I started doing when I was putting these, like the grooves in each face. I started marking at this end with a piece of chalk on which one I was working on, because you pull it out and there's black crap on it and it's glowing orange, it's smoking, and you're in a hurry because you know it's going to get cold fast, and you can't figure out where you left off. That's something you really have to work at. But all in all, I am not unhappy with this. I had a great day.
Well, that's a wrap for today. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're finding this useful. I found it I had a ball. I'm really tired. Be sure to watch episodes 1 and 3. They're linked to at the end of this video. Give us a like, a share, and a subscribe, and y'all come back.